As I introduced myself earlier, I'm Alison Fraser. I'm from the Heritage Foundation, and what my job there is really cool. I am the Director of Economic Policy Studies. So very similar to the Show Me Institute, we focus on federal policy, and we analyze all legislation that goes through the Congress in my particular area. Of course, we have lots of different areas. Yes, there is actually a few bills that are a few bills that are going through the Congress, believe it or not. Just a little bit more about the Heritage Foundation. We were founded in 1973, and we are a research and educational institution. That's a think tank, and we're a C3 organization. And our mission is to formulate and promote conservative public policies based on the principles of free enterprise, limited government, individual freedom, traditional American values, and a strong national defense. That's what we're about. And thank you. And all of those things are under assault today. I'm going to focus a little bit more on economic issues, especially focusing in on the budget. So I like to have at this point a little audience participation. 2 quick questions. How many of you think that you are taxed too little? You can laugh at that one. Okay, and how many of you think that the federal government spends too much? Okay, I'm done. Okay, a little bit more background. Thank you, Lee, for giving some of the background that really teed up what I wanted to talk about tonight. Average, I don't like talking in trillions because it's so big, people don't really know what it means, and it doesn't have the same value as we go forward into the future and as we go back into history. So I'm going to talk about averages as a share of the economy. Average spending since World War II by the federal government has been about 20% of the economy. I might slip into geek speak here and say of GDP, but you know what I mean. Okay, average debt as a share of GDP is a little under 40%. Today, what is it? Publicly traded debt, not the total national debt. It's about 70%, and it's not going down. Spending, average was 20%. Today, it's 24%. In the year 2035, which is about a generation from now, spending will be not 20%, not 24%, 40%. And that's if interest rates don't go up. Debt, not 40%, not 70%, but 185%. On track, actually exceeding Greece, Italy, Spain, and other nations in Europe that are in fiscal and economic and moral meltdown today. We're in our 4th year of $1 trillion plus deficits. Okay, it's kind of gloomy, but don't worry, it gets better, I promise. So, you know, if you like thinking about these issues, if you're concerned about them, if figures maybe aren't really your thing, we have this awesome product, because we're an educational organization, called, and it's easy to remember, called the Federal Budget in Pictures. It's available on our website. You can just go to heritage.org / federal budget. Anyway, Federal Budget and Pictures, we also have a hard copy of it, but it just came into the office and we didn't have time to get it on the bus to show you. And this goes through every single element of the federal budget: spending, tax revenues, deficits and debt, and the future, and the biggest driver of spending and deficits, entitlement programs.
Shouldn't that be blank? We don't have a federal budget.
We have one in the House. Excellent. I like that. I'm going to borrow that. Okay, so now I totally got off track. Okay, so why do we have these $1 trillion deficits today? There's a lot of reasons besides that we're spending too much. The bailouts are one reason. We had the recession. That means revenues went down. It's not because of the tax cuts. Hello. And the stimulus package that we all objected to so terribly. But, you know, these are only part of the reason, and part of that is because they're temporary. We will recover. We will have a robust recovery if we can have good conservative principles coming out of Washington again. But the other reason is because of these big entitlement programs that I told you about. Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Very important programs to millions of Americans, but they are unaffordable today. That is the simple truth. Now, why are they unaffordable? Demographics. We have a huge wave. this up. We have a huge wave of baby boomers that have already started to retire. I'm one of them. I'm a ways off from retiring, but we don't have the demographic situation that can, afford and make these programs sustainable. The other demographic issue is we're living longer. Okay, I'm a little older. I think that's pretty good. I like living longer. But the simple fact is, these entitlement programs were not designed to support, as they do today, the average adult to live 1/4 of their adult life in retirement while our kids and grandkids pay for it. That's just a simple fact, and we need to change that. And that's one of the drivers of this. And then the last one, of course, you all know, healthcare costs growing exponentially faster than the general economy. Okay, so again, entitlements, big spending promises that our lawmakers have made without a way to pay for them. They are unaffordable and unsustainable. And unless we change them and transform them, they are going to result in either bigger, way bigger levels of debt that are going to crush our country and our younger generations, or way bigger levels of taxation that are going to do exactly the same thing. So, got notes here somewhere. Oh, yeah, so this debt that we have and the threat of this big spending agenda that our president has on top of this underlying threat from entitlement programs is really creating a stranglehold on our economy. So we have some real economic reasons to all be very concerned. But beyond that, this is a moral issue. This is why we've joined together with the Family Research Council. It is a moral issue. On top of the $16 trillion, which it will be in the end of November, right conveniently around the time of the election. How did that happen? On top of the $16 trillion in debt that we have these trillions of dollars of excess costs for Social Security and Medicare. And when you break that down, for every working American and younger down to birth, that is a debt in excess of $200,000. That's a mortgage without a house. That's unconscionable and immoral, and we must have a solution to that. You can clap now. Now, so when you think about these European countries that are in meltdown, our budget trajectory, our debt trajectory isn't really that far behind, but we have something that really is much more unique than they don't have. We have a strong, robust economy. As long as we can change policies in Washington, we do have a robust economy. And it will grow and it will recover. They don't. And that is a fundamental difference. We're also Americans, and we handle our challenges in a much different way. So at the Heritage Foundation, we're about solutions. We're about solutions for the country, like the Show Me Institute is about solutions for this great state. And we have a plan. If you stop by where Josh is sitting up there, say hi, Josh. If you stop by and got our brochure, which is right here, I'm going to talk about it a little bit in a minute, you'll see that we have a plan. It's called Saving the American Dream, because that's what we believe this is about. It's about saving our economic future, and it's about saving the future so our younger generations can have the same economic freedom and opportunity that we had and that our grandparents had. In this plan, we tackle spending. That's what has to happen. That was my little quiz at the beginning, because we all think that the federal government spends too much. We don't get rid of entitlements, but we transform them so that they're affordable and they actually work better. And we have to have, in this country, a growth agenda. So we reform our terrible, terrible tax code. Now, when you think about budgets, even though we haven't had one for a long time, when you think about budgets, they're about setting priorities. And in our plan, Saving the American Dream, we do just that. We start with one of the core constitutional functions of the federal government, and that is to provide for the common defense of this nation, something our president would not do.
That's right.
So we fully fund defense. You can clap. I know, it's sorry. We have to have a little bit of fun here. You might be interested to know that I think it was yesterday in the House of Representatives, they actually passed a piece of legislation called a reconciliation bill. Any of you know what that did? It took the harmful cuts away from the Department of Defense and reallocated them to fast-growing programs that really need to be reined in. And I think that's a good thing. So if you're hanging out with our Heritage Action or Family Research Council Action, did I get the name wrong? Yeah, okay. And the C4 organizations who score these things, this was very, very important. And we need to see more work like this coming out of not just the House, but obviously the Senate. What else do we do in our plan? I told you we reform the entitlement programs. This is a tough situation that we face, and all Americans need to be part of the solution. Not the top 1%, but all Americans, even retired Americans. It's a tough situation, and it requires us to make some changes. We reform entitlement programs under the basic notion that all seniors should have economic security when they go into retirement. So they won't live in poverty if they rely solely on Social Security for their retirement income, like many millions of seniors have to do today. Did you know that? Many millions of seniors today only have Social Security, and their benefit is so small that it's actually under the poverty level. Under our plan, that will not happen. Many seniors today face bankruptcy because Medicare is a capped program and won't cover you if you have a catastrophic illness. Under our plan, that will not happen under our Medicare. That's our underlying notion of improving the systems, the programs, and making them work better. Now, on the flip side, we also make them affordable, so we have to give a little bit up. Can't see how we do that. So one of the things that we do, everybody needs to be a part of the solution. We move away from what we have today in these programs, which is unlimited, well, not unlimited, but defined benefits for everyone, every American, regardless of their need for the benefit and regardless of their ability to pay for it themselves. And we move away from defined benefit into more of a defined contribution kind of notion. And what does that mean? Okay, that means you have choice, you have ownership, and you have control. All the things that we think are important as conservatives. It also means for affluent Americans, affluent seniors, that we income relate the program. So you'll have smaller benefits. That means Warren Buffett, you know, when you finally retire, maybe he's getting it now, I don't know, maybe he's getting Social Security. Under our plan, he wouldn't actually get Social Security. Under our plan, he could get Medicare, but he would have to pay the full cost of his premium. And because we're all living longer, we should probably all work longer, so we raise the retirement age. So just sort of high-level notion, we don't have a lot of time to go into this. We do have the pamphlet that gives you more information. Our Social Security, it looks totally different. We don't give a benefit based on what you earned in your working years. We give you a benefit that's flat, but as I said, we keep you out of poverty with that benefit. Under Medicare, we move to a premium support. It's like a defined contribution model, where you as a senior can go out in the open market and buy the health insurance that works best for you and your spouse. You get to choose where you want to go to the hospital. You get to choose where you want to go to the doctor. And you, with your doctor, get to choose the services that work for you, not having some bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. tell you what you can get and your doctor how much they're going to pay for you. Now, this is what our notion is. This is what our vision is, and it's shared by a lot of people in Congress today. It's very similar to what Paul Ryan would do. It's similar to the Ryan Wyden plan. Heaven forbid he actually joined with a Democrat who believes in this. I know many liberal economic policy wonks who believe in this. It is an idea that has wide acceptance. And if we can get Washington to where it's functional and actually passing legislation, this vision is going to be the Medicare of the future. For seniors who are in Medicare today, we maintain the option for them to use to keep the current plan that they have, a fee-for-service kind of model. But many seniors today already choose plans under Medicare. Okay, what do we do that's so great? What's the outcome of this besides better choice, better control, opportunity, and better functioning programs? We balance the budget in 10 years, in less than 10 years. And we do it without raising taxes. We cut the government over 25 years in half. Rather than debt at 185% of the economy in 2035, it's 30% under the historical average, 30% and falling.
Yeah.
That's what we want for America. Now, do you think this sounds good? Yeah, I've heard a couple of heads nodding. Does this sound like anything that you would ever see in coming out of Congress in Washington, D.C.? No. But guess what? It is. One of the things that we've been doing with our sister organization, Heritage Action for America, is to work closely with members in the House and the Senate. And we have a brand new Tea Party senator from Utah by the name of Senator Mike Lee. Wonderful, wonderful guy. And he, on Wednesday, introduced legislation in the form of a budget resolution that is saving the American dream, the Heritage Plan. And we've been working with him for a year on that. It will actually have a vote on Thursday, along with the Obama budget. Right. So what we're here to say is that at Heritage, we're about ideas and coming up with solutions, but we're also about getting those solutions acted into law. Now, of course, we can't do it without all of you. What can you do? We need lawmakers to have the courage to do the right thing. A lot of times we send people to Washington and it's overwhelming. The leadership pressures, the political pressures, the special interests, so forth and so on, and it's hard for them to do that. They need to know that these are the kinds of things that you want them to do. They need to know that you're going to hold them accountable. That's why we're taking our Saving the American Dream plan on the road with the bus and our FRC partners to educate Americans like you on what our plan is, and also so that we can give you materials so that you can talk with your representatives in DC, your senators in DC, and your neighbors, and your networks, and your friends about what's at stake and what some of the solutions are. So as I said, we need your help. You know, I've done this kind of talking not on the bus, but for many, many years all over this country. And every time I do it, this is why I'm so thrilled to be a part of this project. Every time I go out, people are horrified, as you all are, by the situation, and they want to know what they can do. And that's why we have the answers. I don't know if you stopped off and you got our packet, but it tells you what you can do. You can get one from Josh if you didn't earlier. It tells you what you can do. It gives you 5 copies of a summary of our plan. You can share with 4 of your neighbors and keep a copy so you can talk about it wherever you go, in the grocery store, church, or wherever it is. And we would encourage you to do that. And if you get rid of your 5 copies, I know Josh will send you more. We need your help to do this, and I hope you will help us out. You can also sign up and become a part of our network all over the country. And we'll give you updates by email and over the web about what's happening with our Saving the American Dream plan and other developments along the budget and these kinds of issues that are happening in Washington, D.C. So we could tell you, for example, you know, what happens with Senator Lee's budget on the floor of the Senate next week. And equally important to us, and I hope important to you, on the back of it, you can tell us what your name is and who you're saving the American dream for. For me, it was my 3 children. For you, maybe it's your children or your nieces and nephews or your grandchildren or your parents or whatever. But we do want to know who you want to save the American dream for. And it's important. We do need your help because, you know, our folks in Washington are not going to do this without you telling them that they need to, without you giving them the courage that it's okay to do this, that it's necessary, and this is what you expect from them. Our plan is, and our solution is that government is too big. It's too intrusive in our lives. Too many Americans depend on the government for too many things. Some of us are even guilty of that, I think, because it's insidious about big government. We're easily fooled. Our plan would end dependence and end the welfare state. It would preserve individual liberty, choice, economic freedom, and opportunity. And that's why we need your help. Thank you.